Ped, good to see you. Yeah, well, good time, mate. Yeah. Nice to see you again.
I know. It's been a good minute.
Yeah.
When's the last time I saw you? A couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
AGM, I think, yeah.
Yeah. How have you been since?
Busy. Getting the end of graduation sorted, yeah. Finished my degree. That's it, out the way now.
Right, so we get into the questions then?
Yeah, fire away.
Right, so question 1. When did you first realise that you were struggling with mental health?
Good question. When I was struggling or when I knew I had a problem with mental health?
I'd say when you knew.
I've probably known for 20 years that I had a problem with mental health, but I've denied it for nearly 30.
Yeah.
It was 6 years this year since I finally admitted I had a problem. It just got to a point, life had built up far too much, there was far too many pressures, and I actually had a breakdown, not a physical breakdown in the car, but I was in the car, all my possessions in the back of it, and I just had a breakdown, sat at the side of the road and burst into tears. Yeah. And I knew then I had to get help for what I was going through.
Yeah.
But I'm from the generation where men don't show emotion, they don't show weakness.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like for me as well, I think I knew when I was younger, when I was like 13, 14, but I didn't know. I was like kind of like your situation. I wanted to deny it. I didn't want to admit. For many years I thought, maybe just was high school, you're just not popular or whatever. But then I think I kind of came to admit it, and I was like, actually, I need to actually go and do something about this because it's not normal to feel the way.
No.
And I don't like saying that I was depressed or that I had anxiety, but I think for me though, it was like, like you said, hard to acknowledge that. So
I think the biggest problem is admitting to yourself that you've got the problem. Yeah. Because although society's still got a big stigma around mental health, it's almost an admission of defeat. You failed at what you wanted to do through life at whatever stage. When I first admitted I had the problems and I started chatting openly about it, one of my friends got me to do literally just sit pen and paper and write down everything I thought, and I could trace it back to a conversation with my dad at 15, and I was 44 when I admitted I had the problem, so just short of 30 years that I'd just been fighting it. There's some very dark days in that are probably a conversation for another day, and even then I wouldn't admit I had a problem.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think growing up as well, for me, I feel like, especially growing up in a boxing gym, I feel like you're always like, it's that macho environment, especially society. I feel like as men, particularly, we don't really tend to speak out about it because we see it as a vulnerability, but essentially we shouldn't see it as one. So
I think vulnerability is the key word there. We do see that we're opening ourselves up, and we don't like being in that position where others can prey upon us because of how we feel about ourselves. Yeah. So yeah, vulnerability is probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And we're going to the next question. So, why do you believe it's important for anybody to open up about their mental health to their friends and family?
Oh, that's something, you know what, I was laughing because that's something that I've been doing recently. I think, you know what, as generic as it is, I think they're saying a problem shared is a problem halved, isn't it? And I think for me, there were many years I just kind of kept it to myself, and I always felt, especially recently, I'd say like the last couple months ago, like there was stuff going on where I just kind of like keep it to myself, and then I think once I noticed that I could speak to my mates about it, or that I opened up to them about it, I think it took that weight off my shoulders. It felt like, actually, like, yeah, you might be going through stuff, but it is relatively normal though, like that, you know, you're feeling down. Obviously you shouldn't have to ever feel really down to the point, but at the same time it is normal though. It's okay not to be okay. So
I think there's an element where people think that if you say you're depressed or you're suffering from mental health, you're jumping on the bandwagon at the minute, and it's not like you say. Once you start speaking about it, you do feel that weight being lifted off your shoulders. With me, there's a lot of things in my past that my family don't know about, but trusted friends do. Yeah. Because my problems related to issues with my family, I didn't feel and still don't feel that they're entitled to know that side of me. Yeah. But having someone that I can talk to makes it bearable. I can switch off and say, look, I'm having a bad day, have you got 10 minutes? Just knowing you've got someone there. Yeah. Whether they turn around and think you're talking rubbish is besides the point, it's just knowing you've got that support. Yeah, like someone's listening as well. That's it, yeah. And I think that for me was the key thing. Was I remember there was one point I used to call my best mate every night, and I used to be like ranting to them or like getting stuff off my chest. But I think it made me feel so much better though, just knowing that
someone does care, because I think sometimes in your head you can kind of get in your own head, and I've tended to do this quite a bit in the past, that I think, no one cares, or like I want to feel like a burden, like you said before about being a burden. Like, I don't want to burden people with my problems and be like, this is going on. But I think once I talked to my mates about that, and I was very honest, and I was like, you know what, for me it feels like if I come to you about a problem, I feel like I'm just like ranting, or it's just, you know, constant noise. But when they said, actually, no, like, we do care about you, and I think that's the main part of it, isn't it, to open it up in a way.
You need to know you've got that care and the support of someone else that will say, you know what, you might be going through a bad time and it might be complete rubbish, but we're here to listen, we're here to understand, and we're here to help if we can. And I'd even turn around and say, look, I think you need help, just to give you that bigger push that you know you need, but you're probably not brave enough to take the step yourself.
Yeah, no, I agree, Do you think there is a stigma surrounding men to open up?
Oh, without doubt, definitely.
Yeah, definitely, I say so.
That's a child of the 70s, so I wasn't allowed to cry, I wasn't allowed to show any signs of weakness, any emotion, because it's not what men do. You've got to be strong, you've got to be the pillar of the family society. So any conversation that gets men talking about mental health, to me, can only be good. There's a hell of a stigma that we've got to break down. Yeah.
And do you think that stigma, do you think that's like improving, like it is starting to get broken down, or do you still kind of feel like, do you feel like it's kind of like talk? Because I feel like sometimes, yeah, we talk about it, but I don't know whether us as men, we still hold a lot of that stigma in ourselves as a collective.
I don't think we'll ever get rid of how men perceive the mental health issue.
Yeah.
You've only got to look at the way social media reacts when it comes to Mental Health Week or around November. Everyone will talk about it, oh, we're always here for you.
Yeah.
But look at the celebrities that have killed themselves because of mental pressures, and straight away people are on the backs.
Yeah.
Or they'll slate them day in, day out, and then the minute they do something like commit suicide, you get this overpowering wave of support for them. It's the hypocrisy, and I think social media's got a big part to play in that. Yeah. Until we can change that narrative, I don't think we'll end this stigma. Next question for you is, when did you decide to open up to your friends or family, and how did it make you feel?
I think the first time was when I was about 16. I think I kind of thought to myself, right, well, like, I need to speak to someone about this, otherwise it's going to go one way. And it was scary at first, you know, to open up, because I feel like we said before, I just didn't know what the reaction was going to be about it. I think, you know, like you said, I think growing up, not even just in the household, but I think in society, like, you know, you get told that, you know, like, don't be a wimp per se and stuff, and don't, like, open up. So I think, but then I think once I did it, it was quite comfortable knowing that, like, or comforting that I knew that I could do that, and there were people there to do that. So I think for me it was scary though at first, because I think you kind of think, hang on a minute, like, what's going to happen here? Even recently, like, you know, like, I've started going to the therapist, and I was putting it off for years, and then I saw a video where someone said, well, it's like you go to the gym to take care of your physical self, but why would you not go to the therapist then if you're struggling mentally? Exactly, yeah. And I think my therapist has been really good with that, in terms that she's like, she asks questions, but the questions kind of like, you know, they help me understand certain things. So I think talking to someone, whether it's your friends or family, I think at first it's scary, but then once you do it, it breaks that barrier down.
I think it's empowering as well, because for so long you see it as a weakness, a vulnerability, but the minute you actually say, I have a mental health problem and I need help, or I want help, like we said earlier, that pressure goes, but you actually feel quite strong in yourself then, because it's probably one of the biggest things as a man at the minute you can admit to. Yeah. And to have the strength to turn around and say, look, I know there's something not right and I need to deal with it. And I used the therapy sessions through uni, and I found them a great help. Like, just having that professional person listen, not necessarily prod and pry, but pick up on different things you say, and just ask you to look back and say, why did you say this, or why did you think that? And just having that support has been superb. Yeah. It's really helped me. I mean, this year's been really difficult, final year, coming back after COVID. But having someone listen to why you're worried, why you're scared, and why you think you're failing, and then say, well, actually, no, you're not. Yeah. It's quite a strong feeling.
Yeah. I feel like, especially like your friends as well, like, I think I always used to go to my friends first, and I think me then going to the therapist was a lead on from that.
Yeah.
Because I knew my friends could help me, they always listened to me, but I think at one point I was like, right, I need to stop running away from this. I need to actually go and understand certain things, and I think your friends can help you do that as well. Of course they can, and your friends and family can, but then I think for me personally, in my situation, I thought, right, well, I need to kind of
That's it. At some point, you've got to address it professionally. Like, so your friends are brilliant. They'll sit and listen. They'll offer you advice where they can, if they can. But you need at some point someone to turn around and say, look, what you're going through isn't right, and you need to do this to deal with it. Yeah. And that's why coming forward and opening up is that bigger step.
Yeah, yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, superb.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks
for your time.